Coming up on the Code Bet Daily, it is the EPL show. Massive weekend of football coming your way. Just myself and Marcus today. Stats Guy is drunk and under a pile of rubbish on Cavill Avenue. Marcus, what are you looking forward to this week?
I'm looking forward to Liverpool and West Ham. I think there's going to be plenty of goals on offer.
I, of course, can't wait for the North London derby on Sunday night. It's going to be an absolute ripper. There's a lot of good stuff in there as well. Some quirky best bets, but you need to check it out because it's the Code Bet Daily EPL show and it's coming your way right now. Welcome to the Code Bet Daily. It is Wednesday, the 20th of September. It is episode 199 of this here Code Bet Daily, but it is also the EPL weekly show for Matchweek 6. Yes, I said weekly twice. I'm doing what Jim does. I'm your host, Alex Donnelly, because, well, James Clementez and the Stats Guy are up on the Gold Coast, and I've got 3 photos from them, all drinking beer. Not sure there's a lot of work going on, so Stats Guy, after I said last week, is fired from the EPL show, is absolutely fired from the EPL show. As always, I'm joined by Marcus from odds.com.au for the EPL show. How are we, Marcus?
Yeah, good, thank you. I think, he's definitely fired from the button duty as well.
Never again.
That was pretty poor last week.
It is. I went back and watched it on YouTube, and it's just my frustration that I thought I didn't show too much. I probably showed a little bit too much, so sorry, Stats Guy. Anyway, we are here for the EPL show, so this is going to double as the daily. So if you're listening to this through the EPL show, go check us out on the Code Bet Daily. A lot of fun stuff going on there. But it's just what it says on the tin. It's betting, it's codes. Well, it's one code. It is code and daily. So we're here for the best player picks, match props, and best bets for match week 6 of the EPL. But first of all, we need to get into last week's results. And I'm going to do a victory lap here. Your boy, 9 for 10, just swanning out in front. Nottingham Forest let me down last night with the draw. But anyway, Stats Guy was 7 and Marcus with 7, which leaves the total to me in front on 34. Stats Guy 33, Marcus 31. No, we don't have Stats Guy's tips this week, but we do have an app where we put our tips on, so that's how Stats Guy will get judged on. Let's roll on to some quick key takeaways from last week. We just keep Can Anyone Stop City in there? Right now, probably not. It's only themselves. Yep. What about Manchester United, Marcus? I was pretty keen on Brighton, and they have to play Bayern Munich tomorrow morning in the Champions League. This, of course, being Wednesday as we record. Are we concerned about them?
I think we definitely are. They were very, very poor against Brighton. Even though Brighton are playing some good football, for Manchester United to go 3 goals down at Old Trafford is a little bit concerning.
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking that as well. Tottenham, their comeback over Sheffield United. I know it was a comeback, but it was against Sheffield United. So what do we sort of take about that? The fact that they got the run, the win on the board, I mean.
Yeah, I think this was a game last season. Probably Tottenham fans would have left about 85th minute because they knew they weren't going to get a result in that one. But I think, this time, Tottenham this season, it was a result that they wouldn't have got last season, I don't think. But
well, Richarlison scored, for goodness sake.
Crazy sense. And assisted as well. So.
Unbelievable. He did say he's going to come home and talk to a sports psychologist. If he has already, that has worked wonders. So shout out to Richarlison. We are all about men helping their own mental health, especially in the sporting space. All right, let's get to the show rules. Pretty simple. No tipping of Erling Haaland anytime. No mention of Ange Ball because I hate it. And no Chelsea and multis because, well, Chelsea stink. But someone here called the draw last week with Bournemouth. Anyway.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good call.
Let's rip into the games here, Marcus. We're going to start up with the biggest game of the weekend. My beloved Arsenal are $1.70. The draw is $4.20. Tottenham are $4.50. This is at the Emirates Stadium Sunday night at 11 p.m. I will be staying up to watch this. This is an absolute ripping time slot.
100%.
Both teams come into this one unbeaten. Is this the biggest North London derby in recent memory? I want to throw back to a clip from the start of the EPL season where we did our preview and someone may have said something along these lines.
And I think Tottenham fans to be undefeated by the North London derby. Tottenham to be, undefeated. Their fans will be singing Ange's name.
Imagine if both teams are undefeated going into that.
They got a
decent run.
A decent run. Yeah, I think the only tough team they play is I can't remember off the top of my head. It might be Manchester United.
Yep. Okay. Shout out to Marcus calling Tottenham being unbeaten. I also did throw in. Imagine if Arsenal are also unbeaten. So 2 teams unbeaten. Awesome matchup here. I do believe this is the biggest North London derby in recent memory, given the fact both teams are unbeaten. I know there's been games at the end of the season where Champions League spots and this and that go on the line, but I think being unbeaten makes it so much bigger. You look at recent history, so I did a deep dive yesterday. I went full nerd. Arsenal obviously won both games last year. Tottenham were quite poor last year. We all freely admit that. But Arsenal have won the last 4 of 5 North London derbies. They haven't lost a North London derby at home since 2010, and they've scored 30 goals in their last – it's not 30, it's 30 goals in their last 13 derbies at home. That is an insane record. So that'll just rip us straight into the match game picks here. I'm going to go with both teams to score. Over 2.5 goals in the game gets us $1.80. The over 3.5 could well be on as well, given the way that both teams have been going about it, $2.20. I think Arsenal to score 2+ at $1.53 is a nice little bet there as well. Now, I just want to ask you about this, Marcus, and you can sort of roll along with it for a bit too. How do you feel the sort of seasons have been going so far for both teams? You said prior to the start of the year, Tottenham had a pretty easy draw coming into this match game week. And Arsenal, they've been doing enough to win, and that's all you've got to do.
Well, obviously, Tottenham had a pretty easy draw. Obviously, the only tough fixture on paper that they had was Manchester United at home, and obviously we know how Manchester United have started the season. And Arsenal, well, they're just doing what they need to do at the start of the season to finish in that Champions League spot and even, who knows, challenge for the title. But I think although on paper they're both undefeated, I think probably Tottenham have had a better start to the season, just in terms of club atmosphere and how Ange has turned the club around. But I think, as you mentioned before, there's definitely going to be goals in this one, I think, because Ange isn't going to be stubborn and
he's going to go swinging. He's going to try and punch Arsenal directly in the face in his first derby, and it's at the Emirates Stadium as well.
Exactly.
So you sort of look at it and you're just like, when you just sort of go match up the 11s that look likely to start, but also with Arsenal, they've got to play a game in the Champions League tomorrow morning, so it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that. But of the overall 11 against 11 on the pitch, try and find me a Tottenham player, possibly other than Son Heung-min, that is better than his direct opponent at Arsenal. It's very hard.
Yeah, that's a pretty good question. Honestly, I wouldn't even be able to name anyone.
Yeah, I can't. Like, if you go, like, you talk about it, you should look at Arsenal's back four, maybe on that left edge, there against Zinchenko, maybe, and then in midfield it's Rice and Odegaard. Like, absolutely not. Declan Rice has been phenomenal since he started to Arsenal. I suppose Song up front striking is possibly better than Nketiah and Jesus, because at least he's been finishing goals. But other than that, I find it hard to see them see that as far as, a better team against team goes. So with that, I am leaning pretty heavily to Arsenal to get the job done. The fact that they're at home, this is a massive week for the club. Champions League, first time in 6 years, into a North London derby. They're going to be prepped up and ready to go. And Mikel Arteta has built this squad saying, we're going to be playing 3 games a week for the next 6 to 12 months. So we're ready for this. They need to hit the ground running. I'm looking into goals. I'm looking into Martin Odegaard to score anytime. He scored in 2 of his last 3 North London derbies. I think he's a decent price to score again. And, of course, Bukayo Saka. No prices available yet because this game obviously being Sunday night. So look at him to score anytime. He's just been building. I've started to sort of notice he's one of the best players in the world, and we all know that. But he's almost – this isn't to sound disparaging. He's been coasting along to start the year, and he's got that next level when he's like, all right, it's time to go. He just clicks it, and he's just like, I am so much better. And I think we've seen little flashes, but we haven't seen him just go, all right, it's time to be the legitimate best Bukayo Saka I can be.
And this is the type of fixture that he'll star in this one.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm going to go a draw in this one.
Okay.
Just because you mentioned Champions League first time in 6 years. Obviously, it's not the same as last season where you're in the Europa League and you can play your second string squad. You're going to have to.
Arteta did just play his strongest 11 basically every week. Like, Bukayo Saka played on that bloody artificial turf pitch over in, I think it was like Norway or something. Like, it was ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll give you a stat for you.
I love it.
You said it was the first time you played Champions League in six seasons.
Yep.
And since Olivier Giroud, your last goal scorer was Olivier Giroud in the Champions League.
Wow.
Since then, he has won the Champions League the Europa League, the Club World Cup, the Super Cup, and he's moved to AC Milan and won the league. So
Pretty good record in 6 years. That's
a lot
fair
has happened
6
for him in
years.
6 years.
Yeah, I was about to say, there is no member left over from that Arsenal starting 11 that will be playing on or tomorrow night in the Champions League. So that'll be really interesting. I think it's like maybe Emile Smith-Rowe could be the only squad member left. It's really wild.
He's not really getting a look in, which I'm a bit surprised by.
I think Champions League is where he's going to get a run, maybe in Carabao Cup and FA Cup. There's going to be so much coming up for Arsenal. The fact that they've held on to him, I think he's got a part to play. There's going to be a time, and before we move on to our tips, I think Kai Havertz is eventually it's going to click.
He got dropped last week, didn't he?
He got dropped for Vieira, but he came on as a sub, and he did look good. It's him working out a new system, and as we've seen with Chelsea, they're just whatever's going on there at the moment. When you go there, it seemingly doesn't work out for players, and when you leave, it takes some time to get going. Like Kovacic has been okay since he left, but hasn't been great for Man City. So anyway, that's enough talk about this game. I think I've indulged myself well enough. I'm tipping Arsenal. You're tipping the draw. So
I'm tipping the draw.
Big game. Can't wait. Let's move across to also another huge game. Sunday night, once again at 11 p.m. Liverpool $1.45. The draw $5.20. West Ham $6.50. This game, of course, at Anfield. This is your game, Marcus. Go.
It is. I think West Ham and even the draw are at some cheeky value here. Because Liverpool, although they have started the season undefeated, they haven't really played that well, I don't think.
Yep.
I think there's definitely some vulnerabilities there, especially in that Liverpool midfield. But to be fair, they have already played Chelsea, Newcastle, and Aston Villa this season.
Yeah.
And obviously didn't lose, drew to Chelsea, but won the other two. But do you think we're perhaps underestimating Liverpool? Like, do you think they could challenge City?
I'm not underestimating them because I think they've completely redeveloped a midfield in one summer transfer window, and they're just slowly building into the season. I don't think they can challenge for a title, but I think that they're almost Champions League locks for next season.
Yeah, I think so. And they've been there, done it before, even with a limited squad depth.
Yeah.
So I think they could be pushing for that. I think they could be pushing for that top 2, top 3. But they have an incredible record against West Ham recently. They've won 11 of the previous 13 meetings.
Yep.
And both Liverpool's and West Ham's previous 4 league matches so far this season have hit the over.
Okay.
So that's only at a short price of $1.44, but because of Liverpool's aggressive midfield.
Oh yeah, run.
And West Ham's capability just to put 1 or 2 in the back of the net, I reckon you could even look at over 3.5 goals for $2 there.
Okay.
I really fancy that one.
West Ham hit the over 3.5 last week against City as well. They're very deadly on the counter-attack too, so I don't mind it.
Yep. And I think it was a bit of a reality check for West Ham last week against City. Although they went 1-0 up, they conceded 70% possession, 29 shots to go with that. And yeah, so they were well and truly battered. It was just Erling Haaland missed some big opportunities. He could have had a hat-trick in that game.
We talked about that yesterday on the show too.
Yeah, he did score 1. But it just shows that West Ham have a long way to go if they want to finish in a European spot this season.
Okay.
But I think if anyone's going to contribute or get a goal contribution for West Ham, it's going to be their new signing, James Ward-Prowse.
Oh, we love him here at CodeBet. He's a favourite son already.
We sure do. And as I mentioned, I really fancy a shootout in this one. So he's had 5 goal contributions in just 4 games so far this season for the Hammers. So even if it's just a cheeky set piece at Anfield, and as we've seen, he's more than capable of hitting the back of the net and just finding those spaces inside the box.
Yeah, I like it. All right, tips. Let's go. I'm going to go with Liverpool. I just think at home they'll do enough to get the job done. 2-1, 3-1, something like that. I wouldn't even be surprised if we have a 3-2 or just something utterly insane with a boatload of goals, but pretty keen on Liverpool to get the job done.
I love my draw here. We all know that. So I'm going to go for another draw in this one. Despite being at Anfield, I just think there's definitely some vulnerabilities there. Like even against Wolves, they won 3-1, but
they should have gone 2-0 down. They should have been down 2-0.
They should have gone 2-0 down. There's definitely some frailties in there. And West Ham, they've been playing decent football. So
it's wild.
Yeah, it is.
I think my Burnley to finish above West Ham bet is cooked after 4 games already. I think that one's done. Anyway, let's rip into the rest of the games here. We've taken up a chunk of the time on 2 of the main games this week, so let's have a look at the rest of the games. Luton Town, $3.40. The draw, $3.40. The Wolves, $2.20. Kenilworth Road, midnight on a Saturday night, aka 12:01 Sunday morning. I'm going to go with Wolves. They're playing really well at the moment. They should have more results than what their overall tally says. They should have beaten Manchester United or got a draw. It could have gone 2-0 up. Once it clicks for Wolves, I think they'll start winning games and they're going to do enough to stay safe. Luton, as we saw, aren't that great. I don't see how Luton stay up or stay somewhat competitive. This is a game, if they want to stay up, they need to win, but I can't see them doing it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, I don't think that they can win, but I think that they can grab a point. I think just at home against the Wolves.
3 draws to start the week.
I have. When I was putting in my tips, I was looking over. I'm like, I've picked plenty of draws, and I'll just say that there's a couple to come as well.
Oh, Jesus.
But yeah, I just think this is if Luton are going to get a point or points on the board, I think it's this type of fixture, especially with Wolves. Like obviously,
I'm waiting for a Tuesday night in December where it's freezing cold and they sneak a 1-0 win in the 85th minute.
Wolves just can't find the back of the net really, and I think Luton can get their first points on the board this season. Okay,
we head across to Selhurst Park again. Once again, the Saturday night games. Palace $1.87, the draw $3.50, Fulham $4.25. As we saw last week, Fulham did struggle to get past Luton with the 1-0 win. I think Palace get the job done. I think this will be a dour struggle. Have something on the correct score. Crystal Palace 1-0 at $7. I don't mind that. I think Crystal Palace this year will be hard to beat at home.
Yeah, definitely. And they just always seem to score as well. And I'm with you there. I'm going to back Crystal Palace, and that could be one of the best bets of the weekend, I think, beating Fulham, who have really just struggled so far this season. Like they beat Luton.
They feel like they're going to finish 14th, don't
they? Yeah, definitely. Mitrovic gone is a bit of a big loss for them.
And Paulinho leaves in January, they're screwed.
Yeah, correct.
Like he's he signed a contract extension last week. Yeah, Tony Khan tweeting all about it. It's like, you're getting an extra $15 million in January now. That's all that means. It's like, he's contracted till 2028, guys. No, give me $15 million extra. Like, that's all it is. It's a money grab. Good on them.
Yeah, I think they just really they weren't that great against Luton either in a 1-0 win. So
God bless the under.
Palace.
Man City $1.14 the draw, $9.25. Nuts $19. Man City win. I don't care. They dominated Red Star Belgrade this morning. Won 3-1. They had some ridiculous amount of shots in possession and only won 3-1. It's going to be the same again. I don't care.
Yeah, it's going to be the same. It's City are going to just cruise past this one.
Yeah. Let's move across to the GTEC Community Stadium. Brentford $1.75. The draw $3.75. Everton $4.75. It's a Sunday morning at 2:30 in the morning. Now, Everton obviously paid close attention to them last week as they played Arsenal. They look horrendous, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Dyche Ball sucks. They sat 10 behind the ball, and only when they went 1-0 down to Arsenal, they go, oh, crap, we actually need to start playing some sports ball here and try and win the game. And even then, it was pathetic. Arsenal, it was a dominant and never once a concern about losing that game. And that was at Goodison Park. Now they've got to travel to Brentford and try and beat them there. I don't see them getting anywhere near the Bees. Brentford to score 3 or more goals at $3.70 is a bet. The over 3.5 goals has hit in Everton's last 4 away games as the betting underdog. Brentford win and are the absolute best bet of the weekend at $1.75.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I didn't realise they were $1.75, but they will definitely win this one, especially at home. They've beaten some big heavyweight clubs at home, and they're coming up against Everton.
Thomas Frank.
They're coming up against Everton, who will be in that relegation scrap.
I think your preseason call of Brentford finishing 16th is absolutely cooked as well.
I'm not sure about that. Let's have a quick look where they are at the moment.
Have a quick look at the table.
11th.
There you are. You're still a fair bit.
3 points from 16th.
So if they lose this week, there's still hope. Could be a chance. All right. Burnley $4.50. The draw $4.20. Man United $1.70. I don't know where this is because Marcus wrote in London Stadium. That's the West Ham game from last week.
Yes.
United,
Turf Moor, that would be.
Yeah, I know it's at Turf Moor. I assume it's on Sunday morning. Can Burnley actually win this game? They copped the draw against Forest away on Monday morning. United are in absolute all sorts at the moment. If they get their heads kicked in by Bayern Munich tomorrow morning in the Champions League, and then they've got to go to Turf Moor on a Saturday night because it's obviously Sunday morning here, they're going to struggle. I don't think they're good enough to win Burnley, but the draw at $4.20 or even that double chance market really, really gets the old engine racing, shall we say.
Yeah, definitely. This is another one of those games where I'm going to back a draw because United have just been absolutely shocking. Like the fact that Scott McTominay, who wasn't good enough to start from 5 years ago, is still starting in that midfield is just absolutely.
Well, and defensively,
I know they have some injuries, but
defensively they're in all sorts. And bloody Casemiro looks like he's lost 15 yards of pace in an off season. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it looks like his legs are gone, which is a bit of a worry. Although he did start last season, if I remember, pretty slowly as well. That might just be the case, but for United fans, let's hope that's the case.
That double chance, Burnley or draw, $2.05 with Ladbrokes if you like that. Brighton, $1.36. The draw, $5.20. Bournemouth, $8 at the Amex, Sunday, 11 p.m. Shout out to CodeBet Zone Phil, our NRL expert. Ooh. He's getting across to the Amex. He's been WhatsApping me like crazy ever since he got the tickets. I don't know how he's going to get across from Poland, actually, if it's a train or a flight or a bus or he's driving. I don't know how he's getting there. But he said he kept a few days spare for this weekend to try and get to a Brighton game. And good on him because he's getting there. Let's go into Brighton. I think they'll get the job done for Phil here. They've been scoring for fun this year. They look really good. We thought they may slide this year. I don't know why we thought that. They've started off great.
Yeah, just with some European football.
I suppose we may know by Christmas how that's all going to go, but they have made 6 changes from their previous week in the game against Manchester United and just smashed them. It was amazing. Yep. Bournemouth haven't been horrendous this year. They're going to do enough to stay up, I feel. I think we're going to see some goals. I think Brighton will get the job done for sure, but over 3.5 goals at $2.50 is the play for me.
100%. And you look at the talent that they were bringing off the bench against Manchester United. Like
Ansu Fati came off the bench.
Ansu Fati and João Pedro, who scored a worldie as well. I think they're just really great. But maybe we might have to get Phil to do some street talk out in England.
He could be that. He could be that pillaged by the time they kick off. We may not get anything coherent out of him. It'll be a good time. Hopefully, he can send us some videos to put up on the socials. Speaking of teams that want to make you get pillaged, Chelsea, $1.83. The draw, $3.80. Aston Villa, Jim Clemence's beloved Aston Villa, $4. Stamford, Sunday, 11 p.m. What's with all these Sunday games? Is it because of European football? Anyway.
I'm not sure, yeah.
I'm assuming it is.
Chelsea have had a few in a row now.
Yeah. We'll start here. Your team, Marcus, they can't score.
Yeah.
Villa are pretty decent defensively. Villa's price seems insane given the way that they've been winning. And they're like, but Alex, they've lost 2 games. Who'd they lose to? Newcastle and Liverpool. That ain't bad. Villa also came across the Stamford Bridge last year, punched Chelsea in the face and won 2-0. $4. Give me some of that. I'm tipping Villa.
Yeah, I mean...
I'm not tipping Chelsea really until they beat me. Until they give me a reason to tip them, I'm going to be the other team or the draw. They just look horrendous. Yeah,
correct. And I've actually included that as my best bet of the weekend. I'm going to go the double chance draw or Aston Villa at $1.90.
Okay.
Yep, because I just think that, it's absolutely pathetic. Obviously, I'm watching all the Chelsea games and it's literally been a shambles. I don't know
what's going on.
How we can't find the back of the net. We're probably a bit unlucky against Bournemouth, actually. We hit the post and the crossbar onto the line.
Yeah.
But still, we should be at least banking a goal against an expansive Bournemouth. It's not like they were sitting back. They were definitely pretty open.
They were swinging as well.
Yeah, and you just look at all the money we spent as well. Look, I know we got 12 injured players. We got enough.
But how don't you buy an actual striker?
Yeah, well, Nicholas Jackson is showed promising signs. He just can't find the back of the net. But the bench that we had, the only 2 recognisable names, Cole Palmer, who we just bought.
Who advised that kid to leave Man City to go across to Chelsea? He looked amazing in the preseason. and he looks a shadow of himself already. It's been like, dude, you've been there 3 weeks. What's happening?
Yeah, correct. But I really rate him. But yeah, Cole
good.
Palmer and Ben Chilwell on the bench. And then the rest were all teenagers.
Yeah.
So
like,
I don't know what's going on.
Is he regretting his move? Is Caicedo regretting his move? Like, there's so much going on there. It's a fascinating deep dive that needs to be done on what's going on there. I don't know. Is it load management problems? The fact that they're getting all these hamstring injuries? Is he just trying to run them into the ground and they're just tearing hammies because all they're doing is running?
A lot of these injuries actually have been brought over from either pre-season, which they would have worked him hard, or even throughout the off-season last year or late last year. But I don't know how we're the short price of $1.83, considering our current form.
Yep. Move on to the final game of the weekend. Sheffield United, $7. The draw, $4.80. Newcastle, $1.44. This is at Bramall Lane, Monday morning, 1:30. I think this will be a tight one. Newcastle, of course, as called yesterday on the Daily Show, drew this morning in their first Champions League game. So I think coming across to Bramall Lane on a quick backup after the trip to Milan, Newcastle and under 2.5 goals at $4.20. This really feels like a 1-0, 2-0 win. Sheffield do everything to try and scrape a point, but the class of Newcastle shines through.
Yeah, I definitely rate that call, Newcastle and under. Even though they got a point, they got absolutely battered against AC Milan, conceded, I think, 25 shots. So I think, they'll still get the job done here, obviously, against struggling Sheffield. But I like the under 2.5 goal call.
I like it. All right, let's play some best bets.
It's best bets. It's best bets. It's time for all the best bets.
All right, I've got 3. This can be best player props as well. So we'll start off with Brentford, just head-to-head as the best bet of the weekend. I can't believe they're $1.75. Brighton and over 3.5 goals against Bournemouth, $2.50. And then our man Mbeumo to score any time for Brentford as well. He scored in 4 of his last 5 as a favourite. $2.60 to score any time. Marcus, what are your best bets?
Well, as I mentioned before, Chelsea-Aston Villa game, I'm going to go for the double chance there. Draw or Aston Villa at $1.90. And earlier, as I mentioned before as well, I think Liverpool and West Ham, one of the games of the weekend, it's going to be a shootout, I think. So I really fancy over 3.5 goals at $2.
Yep, I don't mind it whatsoever. All right, let's have a multi for the weekend.
Rate my multi.
Just a 4-leg head-to-head one this weekend. Wolves, Crystal Palace, Brentford, Arsenal. Those 4 legs get you $12.56. Rate my multi, Marcus.
I'll give that an 8.
Yeah, you're on a draw with Arsenal, so that's about it.
I think the only tough call would be Arsenal because even though they have that terrible record.
I'm tipping Wolves as well, so that's a bit of a concern.
And Wolves have, 1 win and
Something
one
like
win
that
this season?
Yep.
I think that's the only points that they have on the board. But you know what? There's some value there at $12.56.
For a 4-leg. Hey, we're coming off the back of a $208 multi getting up last weekend in the EPL, so I think $12 feels a bit light. All right, that is the Code Bet Daily done for today, as well as the EPL show done for this week. I'll be back on deck tomorrow for episode 200. I have no idea what we're going to do. We may get I think we should just have a rotating chair of guests tomorrow. Like everyone who's been on the show can just come in, so you and Leo can jump in as well. Of course, tomorrow we'll have the AFL show breaking down all the preliminary finals. I'm absolutely deep into GWS and Collingwood at the moment. I've written way too many words already. The early bets for that game is already up now. Hopefully Stats Guy's thrown his early bets. Look for the other prelim final between Carlton and Brisbane up. He'll be doing the first goal kicking piece for both. And then James will be doing the big Brisbane and Carlton breakdown. That's going to be absolutely insane. And of course, the NRL show, we're going to track down Phil and his dodgy Wi-Fi in Poland. We're going to break down the prelim finals there. They look actually pretty simple affairs, but we'll try and have some fun with that. But please get around all of those shows. They're available through their own little links on Spotify. So the AFL show, NRL and EPL, they're all on their own little pages, but everything comes under the Code Bet Daily too. If you're on Apple Podcast, everything comes up in the one feed. So please like, subscribe, give us a review. Any comments is welcome on that as well. Just say, I'm an idiot and you're sick of hearing me. That's fine. But please chuck us a follow on all of our socials: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, X, and of course, Threads. Head to odds.com.au to see all the good work that Marcus is doing. There's an absolute metric crap ton of stuff going up there at the moment. Working you hard at the moment. You're doing all these shows and everything else. I bet you're happy there's no more AFL rounds anymore, getting you to do an extra game.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit quieter on the AFL front, but everything's starting now. All the American sports and obviously the Premier League's back in the swing of things.
Yeah, of course, and a lot of NFL Australia, NBA Australia as well. Check them out with James as well. He's just yelling about a lot of things at the moment. Send in any questions via the socials, any bets. You want us to rate a multi, you want us to do a footy grid, one of those things that we did on TikTok the other day about rating all the AFL theme songs. GWS is still the GOAT. But I think that's it, Marcus. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. It was a big sound today.
Oh, it's big sound, baby. I can't wait to be one of the only people in orange at the MCG Friday night after scoring myself a ticket. Shout out to Gerald for producing. Does an awesome job. Does old Geraldo. Throwing in that clip in the middle of the podcast as well. Me sending messages at 6:30 in the morning in a group chat. I'm an absolute pest. Thanks to me for hosting and making sure CodeBet's actually up and running. If you go to the website, you can see it's all my top game commentaries and one of James's. Stats guy actually got left at Shooters last night and may have ended up at Cocktails and Dreams along Cavill Avenue. But what do we say, Marcus?
Gamble responsibly.
There we go, mate. All your picks come in. Happy punting. We will catch you tomorrow. But for now, CodeBet Daily EPL out.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.